2019, an invisible passenger began its journey. A microscopic strand of RNA wrapped in a thin, fatty shell crossed from an animal to a human. It was smaller than a grain of dust. Yet within months it would bring the entire world to a stop. Its name was SARS-CoV-2. The world would soon call it COVID-19. You couldn't see it. You couldn't touch it. But it could find you in the only way viruses know how, by turning your own body into its home. The coronavirus isn't alive in the way we are. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't think. It doesn't even want anything. It's a string of genetic code about 30,000 letters long, carrying one simple instruction: make more of me. It can't move or grow on its own. But once it enters your cells, it takes over their machinery, forcing them to copy the virus over and over. Soon those cells burst open like microscopic grenades, scattering millions of new invaders. Your immune system wakes up. Fever rises. Muscles ache. Your body begins its counterattack, a microscopic war happening in silence. It all began in the city of Wuhan, China. Patient Zero, an ordinary person, unknowingly carried the first spark. The virus likely came from a wild animal, maybe a bat, though its exact origin is still uncertain. But in a city of 11 million people, that spark had endless fuel. And in a world of airplanes and global travel, every infected traveller became a new outbreak. By March 2020, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. The modern world built on motion and connections suddenly stopped. Streets went silent, skies cleared, planes grounded. For the first time in generations, humanity pressed pause. But inside hospitals, chaos grew. Doctors worked until they collapsed. Ventilators ran endlessly. Families said goodbye through phone screens. Economies froze. Schools shut down. Billions faced loneliness, fear, and uncertainty. Humanity had faced wars and disasters before, but never something that isolated everyone together. By the time vaccines arrived, COVID-19 had already changed history. Officially, more than 7 million people had died. But studies suggest the real number could be closer to 20 million. Every number a person, every statistic a story. A parent, a friend, a voice that once laughed and never will again. The virus hit hardest among the elderly and the vulnerable, but no nation and no generation was untouched. Yet humanity responded with its greatest weapon: knowledge. Scientists decoded the virus's genome within weeks. Across borders, labs shared data, discoveries, and hope. For once, the world's brightest minds fought the same enemy together. In less than a year, a miracle arrived: the first mRNA vaccines. A technology once dismissed as impossible now turned into the shield that saved millions. Billions of doses were produced and delivered. Tens of millions of lives were saved. It was one of the fastest and largest scientific efforts in human history. But the virus was not done. It evolved. Alpha, Delta, Omicron. Each new variant faster, smarter, more contagious than before. Evolution is a double-edged sword. As humans built immunity, the virus changed not out of hate, but survival. Because a virus that kills too quickly loses its home. Slowly, it became less deadly, more familiar. A new resident in the endless ecosystem of diseases that share our planet. People asked, why did this happen? Was it a sign, a punishment, a warning? The truth is, there was no plan, no intent, no reason. The virus doesn't care. It isn't good or evil. It simply exists. A tiny piece of nature exploring every path it can to continue. But we are not tiny. We are thinking, feeling, learning creatures. And that gives us something the virus will never have: choice. The choice to learn or to forget. In the years that followed, life began again. Masks came off. Borders reopened. The noise of cities returned. But something fundamental had changed. We learned how fragile our systems really are, and how strong cooperation can be when survival depends on it. The pandemic reshaped medicine, education, and our sense of connection. It revealed both the best and worst of us, our compassion, our fear, our resilience, and our need for truth. COVID-19 was never just a disease. It was a mirror showing us who we are when everything stops. And when it happens again, because one day it will, the question will not be if we can survive, but what kind of world we choose to rebuild afterward. We share one planet, one biology, one fate. So, when the next invisible passenger arrives, may we remember what we learned.